Laura. It was one of the happiest evenings of my life. A Pearl 30th wedding anniversary, which we celebrated with family and friends, many of whom were at our wedding many years ago. Cole looked especially attractive. He was always fit and strong. Light gray hair at the temples hinted at the future appearance of a silver fox. But his piercing blue eyes never changed. I could only hope that he still looked at me the same way. I was already 52, but I was still fit and weighed only 7 pounds more than on our wedding day. I splurged on an elegant evening dress and new heels for our party and spent the entire day getting ready. It was so nice to greet old friends and our now grown children, nephews, and nieces. They did most of the work organizing the evening. We made no speeches and just wished everyone a good time. Later, Cole asked me to dance. Everyone stopped to look at us. It was so reminiscent of our wedding evening. Cole smiled at me, his gaze a little sad. "Thank you for 30 wonderful years of marriage." I beamed in response. "Thank you. You are an ideal husband. I could not be happier with our life together. You are a great wife." I thought Cole's response sounded a little disappointing and a little strange, and we continued dancing before he spoke again. "You're doing a good job. I think I've only seen you look at him once all evening." "Sorry, what? Who do you mean?" "Don't start lying, Laura. It's beneath you. And after 30 years of devotion, I think I deserve the truth." Silence. "Okay, if you're going to play dumb and to prevent any doubt, I mean your boss and lover, Charles Davenport. Unlike you, he can't take his eyes off you." I suddenly felt really bad and I thought I could fake it. Tears welled up in my eyes. I hoped that the audience would think that I was overcome with emotion about our anniversary. "Don't cry, Laura. It's your own fault, and keep dancing if you don't want everyone to know that there's a problem." I didn't deny anything or ask how he knew. He deserved better. "I'm sorry." "No, I don't think so. If you were sorry, you wouldn't have returned to him. It is a planned, deliberate, and repeated act." "It's not that simple," my voice whispered. "It all seems simple enough. An affair with your rich boss. How long has it been going on?" "I don't know exactly, probably several months." We continued to dance. All eyes, including children's, were directed at us. God, if they knew what the conversation was about, I would be killed. "How often do you meet with him?" "Travel for work every few weeks. Nothing inappropriate in the office. This is not what you think about. This is not wild, passionate sex. This is what I have you for." "Then why, after all?" "It's usually about the fact that a woman needs more than her husband can offer." "No, never." After he lost Lucy, it was more about friendship and comfort than anything else. He was depressed, and I tried to help him come to his senses. Cole laughed. "How noble. I think that you spread your legs, and it was very opportune for him." "Don't." "It wasn't so vulgar. It was love and care." "It's love. I mean, do you love him, Laura?" "I have feelings for him, but not the same as for you. Now everything is so confused." "It doesn't have to be confusing if you love someone enough, and you seem to love me enough to hurt me." "I never wanted this. I never thought that you would find out." We continued to dance. Several more couples joined us at the edges, again like on our wedding evening. "Stop it, Laura. You knew about the consequences. This is a betrayal of us, regardless of whether I find out about it. Isn't this the moment when you swear your eternal love to me? Tell me that it was all a terrible mistake and that you will never see him again?" "I'm not sure what he'll do if I leave him. He really had depression before. Just unhappy or clinically depressed. Don't be so cruel. He felt bad. I thought he might go so far as to end everything. The song is over." "Well, let's go and talk to the person in question." "Oh my God. You're not going to make a scene here, are you?" "Depends on what that idiot says." As we approached, Cole looked with contempt at Charles's outstretched hand and left it hanging. Charles pulled his hand back with a confused look on his face. "I would like you to tell me about your relationship with my wife and how you had the nerve to show up to our anniversary party." Charles began to stutter in response. I do not understand what you're saying. I interrupted him. He knows Charles, and there is no point in denying it. Charles nodded, quickly returning to his business-like appearance. The truth is that I love Laura. I'm sorry it hurts you, but I can't regret my feelings for her. She saved me, and if it weren't for her kindness, I'm not sure I'd still be here. I wasn't trying to cheat with the party. I just thought it would be weird if I didn't show up since everyone else was here from work. Seriously? Using your dead wife as an excuse to seduce a married woman is pretty low even for you. Fuck you. I didn't do it. We just became close because of grief. I was all torn. You lost your wife and took mine, and you felt bad, so it's okay. Are you trying to draw this line? I interrupted. He didn't take me. I'm still here and I'm still your wife. We can fix this, my dear, Cole growled, but I'm sure you'll just fall on your feet or on your back. The lover, now that he has regained his health, can offer you all the money and attributes. I looked around, worried that people were starting to pay attention to us. You better leave now before I lose my temper, you little piece of shit. Cole turned to me as Charles quickly walked away. Keep your playful face on for another 30 minutes, and then we'll leave. It won't be difficult for you. You're used to lying. I'd rather the kids not find out about this fucking travesty after all the effort they put in for us today. I nodded, choking back sobs as my heart broke for him. Today's wedding celebration seems like a fitting end, don't you think? I came to my senses and felt some anger. Don't be so funny. We're not breaking up over this. We can fix it. With that, I quickly walked away, trying to get to the toilet before I broke down. I wasn't looking for an affair. After all, I was happily married to a wonderful guy. My boss Charles always flirted, and I liked it, although it never went beyond that. Everything changed when his wife Lucy died. He was so sad that you could see the life force literally draining out of him. An outgoing extrovert who had a never-ending stream of jokes and could make people feel good about themselves. I tried to cheer him up. We all tried. And we ended up having a few lunches together. It was on business trips that we became close. I knew it was helping him cope with his grief, and it felt so natural to spend time together. Sex was secondary. I thought about telling Cole, but he would never agree. Women who do this must be so naive. It is potentially worse than the affair itself. It hurts a man's pride and ego and is not something to be taken lightly or ignored. The truth was that I thought I could get away with it without hurting him because he would never know. As soon as Charles came to his senses, he swept me off my feet. He was so grateful. It seemed that in his eyes I could do nothing wrong and was his savior. I told myself that we needed to stop, that the crisis was averted, but before I could reason with myself, he made me laugh and feel so good again. Charles was more sophisticated than Cole. He had an easy charm and confidence that I liked. He was decisive and in many ways the complete opposite of my calm and reasonable husband. My worst-case scenario was that Cole would find out about this. I thought it over and prepared excuses that I was very ashamed of hurting him. By the way, this was 100% true, that I loved him more than anything in the world. Now, I was less sure of this. I had serious feelings for Charles. The truth is that I wasn't sure of anything anymore, and if pushed, I would have said that I was in love with both men. I was absolutely sure that Cole would forgive me. He was so in love and devoted to me that I simply could not imagine us apart, no matter what I had done. How the hell did he know about this? We were so careful. On our wedding anniversary, he asked me about it directly. I hesitated, and then I couldn't look him in the eyes. I knew there was no point in denying or being angry at the accusations. The next day, I was sitting with Cole. He looked devastated as he turned to me. You don't seem too stressed about it. Maybe you don't care. This is not true. I love you. I care about you so much. And about him. Don't forget that you care about him. You can't even give up this bastard for me. I tried to explain again about Charles's depression, friendship, and growing feelings. Cole then surprised me by asking about the purpose of the upcoming business trip. My answer sounded weak, even to me. Nothing that could not be achieved with a regular call. So, It looks like this is all very carefully planned, and the business trip is just another ploy to cover up your ongoing affair. I tried to explain that this is not really a novel. Okay then, to cover it up, sex with another man. Oops, I just ran into this. I needed to try to control the conversation, to let Cole know that it wasn't all bad, that this was just a tiny part of our lives. Before you find out, how would you describe our marriage? Happy, prosperous, the perfect marriage that everyone thinks we have. This is wonderful. I feel exactly the same. I have my reasons, but I know what I'm doing is wrong. Despite this, I have always tried to be the best wife for you, and we have an ideal life together. Yes, except for the fact that you have sex with another guy and build this perfect marriage on the facade of infidelity and lies. This should not affect our happiness. Everything is fine with us, especially lately. I feel that in some ways, I have become a better person, more considerate of others. Yes, you seem very pleased with yourself. I winced. Damn it, Cole, these smart-ass comments aren't helping. How did you even know? So here we are, teetering on the brink of divorce, and all you care about is how I found out about it. Is it just so you can cover your tracks better next time? You apologized, but didn't say you'd stop seeing him. It's not that simple. I'm not sure that he will be fine without me. I think he will plunge into another depression. Wow, I think this shows me where I am. Your priority is his well-being. What happens if I get depressed because my wife is a cheating slut? Will I bring you back then? I had never seen my kind and gentle husband so angry, and certainly never towards me, and I was scared and sad to see him like that. I want you to leave. This is my home too. Leave now. Just get the hell out, Laura, before I do something I regret. I decided to go to my best friend's house. And then it dawned on me. Wendy, my closest friend, was the only one I trusted. That's most likely how Cole found out. She threatened to tell him, and she must have decided to follow through on that threat. By the time I got there, I could barely contain myself. I attacked Wendy and said, "Cole kicked me out, and the only way he could have known about it was if you told him." I didn't say a word, Laura. She didn't seem to categorically deny it. How could my best friend betray my trust and destroy my marriage? Her answer shocked me. You know what, Laura, fuck you. I am Cole's friend as well as yours. I've known him for over 30 years. I told you this was all crazy and he didn't deserve any of it. But you never listened to me, and I never said a word to him. I've been avoiding him for the past 3 months to keep your dirty little secret. It's a shame to act like a teenager in love. The only person I betrayed was him. Now get out of my house. Shit. Getting kicked out was becoming commonplace. Where the hell could I go? To my mother. It's like the Spanish Inquisition. To Charles. This is definitely the end of my marriage. As a result, I had to go to my mother and make up a story about a small quarrel in order to deflect most of her questions. Wendy. I realized that I had to do something important, really important, even if I had to pay for it. 20 minutes later, I was already knocking on the door of Cole and Laura's house. The stake opened. It looked terrible. Please tell me you're not here to make excuses for her. No, I'm here to admit my guilt and apologize. Cole looked puzzled. Then you better come in. I laid it all out. Sorry, Cole. I knew she was dating him. I begged her to come to her senses and make her understand what she was risking. I'm really sorry I didn't say anything. She's my oldest friend. But you're my friend too, and I had to say something. Cole seemed to be deep in thought. The silence dragged on, and finally he spoke. I understand that she put you in an awkward situation. You'll be damned if you do and damned if you don't. I smiled. Typical Cole. Calm, reasonable, kind. Why do you think she did it, Wendy? I think she thought she was saving him. At first it was friendship, but then it grew into something more. Are you sure kicking her out is a good move? Wouldn't it give him more opportunities? Cole nodded. The conversation didn't work. She got lost in the romantic love story of Mills and Boone. I agree with you. She sees herself as a heroine who saved a good man. So I thought that if I kicked her out, she might at least be a little more aware of it. I have no idea who she needs, me or him. She may not understand now, Cole, but it's you that she needs. You have always been her strength and support. Laura. I knew it was dangerous, but I needed help. Charles would know what to do. He was the smartest man I knew. I called. He was glad to hear from me and offered to meet. As usual, we agreed to meet after work at a prestigious restaurant, and I tried to dress up. I wanted to stay married to Cole, but I needed to keep Charles interested in case the worst happened. If Cole doesn't take me back, then Charles will be my backup option. After all, he's told me he loves me often enough. We had just sat down when Cole and Wendy came in. What a damn bitch! I burst into them just as they were sitting down. What the fuck are you doing with my husband? I think it's the same as you and Charles. I've told you many times that I think Cole would be a great match. And if you're stupid enough to turn it down, well, I turned to Cole. You can't do this. We're married. A fact that you are more than willing to ignore. He looked at Charles. It's just dinner with a friend and nothing more. By the way, really cool outfit. If I'm not mistaken, these are your seamed stockings and fuck me heels. I think today is his lucky evening, or should I say, another happy evening. I felt my face turn red. Shit. It wasn't supposed to be like this. It was supposed to be a romantic interlude. And now I'm standing in a restaurant, and my husband has just announced to everyone around me that I'm wearing stockings in preparation for sleeping with another man. Wendy looked down at my legs. Black stockings with seams. A little corny and revealing. Maybe you should try a sexy nurse uniform. After all, you supposedly care about his health. Wendy turned to Cole and smiled. Personally, I find nudity much more sophisticated. I saw Cole raise his eyebrows at her. Jesus, she was flirting with him right in front of me. This bitch told you everything to separate us. She didn't do anything like that. In fact, she was trying to be your friend at my expense. I didn't see her until you accused her the other day, and then she came and apologized. She explained that you were her old friend and that she had repeatedly tried to convince you to come to your senses. I have to say that her apology was more convincing than yours. I didn't know what to say. It was just so disappointing. Go back to your boyfriend, Laura. We're done. I burst into tears and rushed out of the restaurant. Shit, I'm losing him. Even if we manage to save the marriage, I saw that he would never be the same. I went from someone who was loved to the point of being put on a pedestal to someone he could barely tolerate. I couldn't understand how they knew we'd be at the restaurant. It couldn't be a coincidence, and they were clearly ready to see me and Charles. Charles again offered to help, saying that he could explain everything and smooth it out if we prepared and met with Cole together. The offer sounded far-fetched, but I was ready to try anything. Cole had always been faster than me in discussions and arguments, but I knew Charles could match him. Cole was shocked when I returned to my old house with Charles. He stood up and I thought he was going to attack Charles. Are you kidding? This affects all of us, and Charles is here to help get it right. It was my turn to be surprised when Cole calmly sat back down. Well, it's nice that there are 3 of us in this relationship. I can't wait to hear it. I ignored his taunt and began. From the very beginning, I want to apologize to you. It was never my intention to develop a relationship with Charles, and I never wanted to hurt you. I know it's hard to believe, but I really love you. I also want to apologize, Charles said. If I had been in my right mind, I would never have crossed this line. I was sick. I can honestly say that without Laura, I would have committed suicide. She saved me. You look pretty good. Is she still saving you, or is it just sex? You shouldn't have claimed my wife just because you were sick. It's still treason and complete betrayal. Cole turned and looked at me with his steely blue eyes. You chose him over me. I've never done this, but I couldn't leave my friend in such circumstances. You could be a friend without spreading your legs. I ignored the rude remark and began the speech I had prepared with Charles. It wasn't planned. We just became close under difficult circumstances and developed feelings for each other. I'm sorry I hurt you. You don't deserve any of this. As far as I understand, we have several options. Oh, really? Then please enlighten me. Well, you can divorce me. It's the last thing I want, but I won't try to resist if that's what you want. The kids are grown up now, but they still need you. Need both of us. I would split the money any way you want, and I trust you to be fair. But this option would ruin all our plans for a wonderful life together. I still want to share it all with you, if you let me. And if we get divorced, will you move in with him? We haven't discussed this, but yes, I think it will be inevitable if you decide to leave me. You're not the one who got dumped in this shit show. I didn't leave you. You kicked me out yourself. The second option is that I can stop dating Charles, and somehow you will forgive me. I'm not sure if this is possible. It will eat away at you, and you won't trust me. I cannot leave the person I have feelings for in difficult times. I will never forgive myself for this. Cole laughed. Indeed, in difficult times, he's the least depressed guy I've ever seen. He looks like a cat who got the cream. Can't you see he likes it? I tried not to let the comment throw me off, although I saw Charles wince a little. Or we continue as we are now. You said you were happy, and I want to continue making you happy more than anything else. My relationship with Charles should not affect you. We still treat each other with respect. Cole began to laugh heartily before catching his breath. Really? Respectfully? You have no idea. I continued. In turn, I would agree for you to date someone else, even if it's Wendy. I think you're a single man, and I doubt this is for you, but I'll understand if you want it. I don't want to explore anything beyond you and Charles. We could be honest. I would be the best wife for both of you. No running around, no secrets. We will try to build trust between the three of us. And this is the option I would prefer. Cole looked at me without blinking, as if he saw right through me. I prefer option 1. Let's get a divorce. He was so serious that my heart began to pound in my chest. Reality hit me hard. What could I lose? I agreed to this ultimatum, believing that I had a backup plan ready for Charles, and after all, he might be the best option if I had already ruined my relationship with Cole. Now I was not so sure. And one more thing. Did he come up with this nonsense? I turned away. Charles looked just as awkward. Jesus, Laura, you really listen to shitty advice. If I'm not mistaken, I think that someone is trying to advise actions so that we break up. You couldn't say anything more antagonistic if you tried. Charles exploded. Under the circumstances, this is a perfectly reasonable proposal. Fuck off, Charles. You know that divorce is my only option, just like you planned. Tell me, Laura, besides you and Wendy, who else knew about your affair? Well, no one. Only Charles. Really? So maybe he bragged to a friend or friends about how he was having sex with a hot MILF at work. This friend mentions it to someone else, and suddenly a lot of people know about it, and maybe one of those people just happens to know me. A cynic might suggest that someone might have ensured that the message got to me. Cole looked at Charles. That's why you came to our party, isn't it? You knew what I found out. You wanted to see the outcome, perhaps hoping that I would lay it all out there for everyone to see, and you would be there to pick up the pieces. Nonsense, I didn't know anything like that. It's funny that Wendy found out so quickly about your little meeting in the restaurant, and through a friend, which seemed to be very convenient. We went there to try to reason with you, although you immediately ran to your lover. It took me a while to realize that he was happy to have us there. I burst into tears. Why would he do this? He's in love with me. He would never hurt me like that. It's obvious he wants you to belong only to him. He did everything in his power to get us divorced. He is just as likely as I am not to agree to split you up. He's not like that. Tell him, Charles. What difference does it make? He made his choice. To leave you and get a divorce, we can be together. Cole continued. Were you depressed at all, or was this all part of the plan? Of course I was. I would like to see some medical evidence to support this diagnosis. I have already traced who told whom all the way back to you. Perhaps I could have spilled the beans to someone. I wanted to tell the whole world about us, Laura. So you pretended to be sick, took advantage of her sympathy, encouraged her to continue the affair, made sure I found out about it, and did everything possible to get us to break up. Does that sum it all up? So what if I did this? We should be together. I am a rich man and want to live a full life with Laura. I loved her even when Lucy was alive. The sound of a slap echoed through the room, and Charles grabbed his face. You fucking trash! Before I could give him another slap, Cole stood up, grabbed Charles by the collar of his shirt, pulled him to his feet, and pushed him forward, slamming him into the front door. Consider yourself lucky. If I see you again, you won't be so lucky. With these words, Cole opened the door, pulled Charles back to his feet, and literally kicked him out of the house with a kick in the ass. I rushed to him in a panic. I was a complete idiot, Cole. I can't believe I trusted him. I will resign and never see him again. This is all a terrible mistake. I forgot what I loved about you. All the things you do without even thinking. Checking if everything is okay, hugging me, your calm sense of humor and fun, and the way you agree with most of my crazy ideas. Please give me one more chance. I can't. You can if you really want to. Is it because of Wendy? No, we just came there to try to give you some sense, as well as to throw you out of the house so that you understand that this is not a romantic story. She and I are just friends who have something in common. We were both betrayed by you. It worked. I was so jealous when I saw you both. I felt like my world was collapsing. After that, I no longer thought that you would take me back. And as a backup option, I stayed with Charles. I never meant to hurt you. Whether you wanted to or not, this is what you did. You rejected me, made a fool of me and our life together. I'm the only fool here, Cole. Please give me another chance. We had 30 wonderful years together. The lack of anger surprised me. It's too late, Laura. You wanted someone else. I wasn't enough for you. It wasn't like that. I was just trying to help a friend. Stop it. You should know that you are lying to yourself to ease your conscience. You liked what he offered. Our life together was not enough. It will be difficult for you to come to terms with this. But everything is very simple. You are a lying liar, nothing more. I think it's time for you to leave. Please don't make me leave. You leave or I leave. Under the circumstances, it should be you. Don't you think so? 6 months later, we divorced, quite simply, without any mess except for my life. We did everything over the internet, without lawyers, consultants, or courts. I moved out, moved back in with my mom, and took a step back in time. It brought back all the memories I had of living there, and how excited I was to meet Cole. I was pierced by memories of the wedding morning, and how I was at my mother's preparing for the best day of my life. In the end, I had to confess to my friends and children. They began to hint that it must all be Cole's fault. After all, he was an attractive guy and was probably playing too hard. Neither my parents nor my children could believe it at first, and only when I completely broke down did they realize the full truth of my betrayal. They didn't disown me, but the relationship was never the same. Charles tried repeatedly to contact me. I never responded. He was an absolute snake. It turned out that I was betrayed by the one who claimed to love me, and it cost me everything I valued. Subscribe to our channel so that your second chaff doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think about listening to the next one.